Hi, Adam from Audio Imperia here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at our updated orchestral library NUCLEUS, the new instruments that are on offer, and how you might use them in your compositions. So let's dive right in. Before we take a listen, let's talk briefly about the library layout and where you can find the new instruments. The updated NUCLEUS is laid out much like the previous version, so it'll still be familiar to you. Inside the percussion folder we have three new instruments, a Celeste, Tubular Bells, and a Mark tree. And inside the sound design folder, we have a new category called sub-booms. These are low, cinematic hits, perfect for adding weight and drama to your compositions. So let's go ahead and have a listen to these new instruments and give you a feel for each of them. Our tubular bells come with both open hits, where the notes are left to ring out and decay naturally over time, and muted hits, where the instrument's dampening pedal is activated after 4 bars, muting the bells in a realistic and musical fashion. So now we've had a little listen to the new instruments in isolation, I want to show you how I might use them in context. Now, a while ago I wrote this short demo piece using just NUCLEUS for our online series, The Journey to Becoming a Composer, and I'm going to show you how I'd use the new instruments to help enhance this piece. So let's start by having a listen to this piece as I originally wrote it. So that was the piece as it originally sounded. I've since gone and added this new folder here, which contains the new instruments. And I'm going to go through one by one and show you how I've used each one to try and help enhance this piece a little bit. So the first thing I've used are the sub-booms. Now, sub-booms are great just for adding this huge, low cinematic texture for your music. And I thought it'd be great to start this whole thing off with a sub-boom. So I'm just going to show you what that sounds like in isolation. As you can hear, there's just so much drama to those kinds of sub-booms, and they can really help make big impacts at key points. So I've used these sparingly throughout the piece just to really emphasize key moments, and that's particularly true of this intro where I'm starting with a big sub-boom. So in context, the sub-boom sounds like this. You can see it's adding a lot of weight to that intro. So before. And after. Makes such a big difference, just that small but really important sub-boom there. Next thing we're going to look at is the mark tree, because I think that's making a huge difference to the intro as well. A mark tree is just a kind of bell tree that can be played with fingers or metal sticks or other instruments, and it just creates this really interesting sort of beautiful, fantastical kind of texture, I guess. If I just show you this on its own, you'll get an idea of what I mean. So yeah, lots of really interesting textures there. And this is one of the instruments that I missed when I was writing this piece of music originally before this NUCLEUS update. So I'm so happy that we've got a mark tree in NUCLEUS. Sounds fantastic. It's going to add so many different options when it comes to composing. And I'm just going to show you the mark tree in context now. So yeah, just the sub-booms and the mark tree are adding so much kind of impact to that intro. The next thing we're going to look at is the Celeste. Now, Celeste is a beautiful sort of piano type instrument, but a lot higher, a lot more metallic sounding, gorgeous sound. And I'm just using the Celeste in this piece just to pick out key parts of the melody and just to help sort of bring them forward in the mix a bit. So I'll show you the Celeste in isolation. You can hear just that beautiful sort of high metallic texture. But in the context of this piece, I'm really just using it to help reinforce the other instruments. So let me just show you what that sounds like in context too. So the effect is pretty subtle, but when you see the A-B comparison at the end, I think you'll really appreciate it's bringing quite a lot to this piece as well. And finally, I'm going to show you the Tubular Bells. Now, I love Tubular Bells, one of the hallmarks of cinematic scoring. Tubular bells can really, again, a bit like sub-booms, add huge impacts at key points. You want to kind of use them sparingly, but if you use them right, they can really just help add a lot of kind of cinematic weight at key points. So I'm going to show you these in isolation and show you how they sound. So yeah, great deep bell-like texture, sounds like a huge bell, and they just add so much. Again, you'll see that in the intro. So here's the intro with the tubular bells and everything else. So there we go. Those tubular bells are really making a big impact. And again, an instrument that I really missed when I was first writing this. So I'm absolutely ecstatic that we put this into NUCLEUS. It's going to add so many different options when it comes to composing. And now I'm just going to do an A-B comparison between how the intro originally sounded and how it sounds with the new instruments. And I think you'll see that when you hear what the new instruments are bringing, it actually sounds quite empty without them. So I'm going to go back and forth, and I think you'll really appreciate what the difference they're making. So So I'm sure you can see what a difference those few instruments are making in terms of adding texture and sort of really enhancing the soundscape, particularly in the intro section of this piece of music. And this whole collection of new instruments is just going to really take Nucleus to the next level, really offer you so many different options when it comes to scoring. And I hope that this piece has given you just an idea of how these things may be used in your compositions. So there we have it. I hope this has given you some idea about the new instruments in Nucleus and about what this update can offer you. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll join us for the next video.